Hello, my name is Emma, and today I'm reviewing Binge by the one, the only, Mr. Tyler Oakley. I tried to do makeup that matched the cover of the book, but I don't really think it worked. Now, Tyler Oakley is one of my all-time favorite YouTubers, so when I heard he was publishing a book, I was just like, yes, thank you, praise bless my queen. So of course, in this review, I'm going to be talking about specific content of the book because it's just so amazing and I can't not talk about it. But I wouldn't really label it specifically spoiler-free. I'm not sure if it's just because it's a memoir, but my feelings on this book are completely different from any of that of the YA fiction that I generally review, so I feel like the mood and the style of this review is totally going to be individual. So while I will be discussing specific parts of the book, I definitely recommend sticking around because the messages that this book preaches are totally as important as the actual events that go on in this book, whether you've read it or not. You should really be hearing some of the stuff that Tyler Oakley talks about. So of course, I gave Binge 5 out of 5 stars, and if I could give it 74.6 stars out of 5, I totally would. I don't read a lot of memoirs generally, but I connected on this book on such a personal level, and it's just totally new to me. I just haven't felt this way about a book in a really long time, and that's a really wonderful feeling. There is just so much that I've learned, not only about Tyler while reading Binge, but also myself. I just feel like generally I have a better outlook on my past experiences, as well as my future experiences after reading Binge, just because I know that me and Tyler Oakley have gone through such similar experiences now, but it also just pushes me to have a better outlook on life completely. And that's not even just concerning the negative aspects of this book. I mean, really, it just reminded me to stop being such a goddamn stick in the mud and to embrace new experiences. I feel that Binge is the perfect balance between tragedy and comedy, but mostly comedy because, come on, it's Tyler Oakley. I laughed, I cried, I nonchalantly spit water on the book while I was trying to secretly read in class, which clearly didn't work. I just absolutely loved Binge so much, and I'm so thankful that Tyler Oakley wrote it. So now I'm going to be talking about specific things that happened in the book, as well as my more in-depth feelings on this book. So if you don't want to know a single thing that happened during Binge, I'd recommend leaving now. But honestly, if I was on the other side of the screen and I was watching this review, I don't think I'd personally feel spoiled by anything that I'm going to be talking about. So stay with discretion, but you should really stay because I love this book so much. Otherwise, leave, go read Binge, and come back and we can discuss it together. So first of all, I love how he started off this book. Am I the only person in the world that didn't know that his name is actually Tyler? What? I swear to God, this was a bigger plot twist than Snape killing Dumbledore. Not only do I like that he started off this book with a bang, but I also like the actual reason that he decided to do so. He talks about how he felt that Tyler Oakley and Matthew Tyler Oakley were two totally different people, but in reality, he is always both at the same time. And so by revealing his real name, he's basically saying he's trusting and allowing readers to get to know him behind the YouTube videos and behind @Tyler Oakley, and it's just super genuine, and I really love that. Now, my attachment to this book really started around chapter 6 or 7, which is titled Binge. As soon as I read the line that said, "I ate everything and I was ashamed," I let out an audible, "Oh my fucking God." And so from this point on, I knew that not only was I going to know Tyler Oakley on a level that I never imagined that I could, I also knew that I was meant to pick up this book and I was going to find something in it for myself. I had no idea that he ever had an issue with food, let alone a full-blown eating disorder. And as somebody who is super open about their own struggles on the internet and is such an advocate for mental illness, it really hit me hard that he was open enough to come out and say it. I think the way that he told the chapter was super intense and raw and realistic and extremely brave of him, and I really applaud him for that. I don't think that I could ever actually look at my anorexia the same way after reading this book, and I'm so unbelievably thankful for that. I feel ashamed that I'm actually admitting this in a video, but when I was sick, I was constantly belittling myself because I was never sick enough. Something I feel that really sets apart people who suffer from eating disorders from other mental illnesses is that we don't want to get better. We want to get sicker and sicker until we completely wither away and disappear. So for the many years that I was suffering from this disease, I was never doing enough. I wasn't skinny enough. I was eating too much. I wasn't losing enough weight. I wasn't exercising enough. And I'm honestly disgusted that I ever was able to think these things about myself. So reading this chapter finally took this gigantic weight of head on my chest for all of these years. I've read articles and I've seen movies and I've read books and talked to other people who are suffering, but for the first time in my life I've actually felt like I was not alone in this time, and I'm so thankful I found somebody who could make me feel that way. All I can say is thank you so much, Tyler, for sharing your story about this and giving me a sense of stability for the first time in 8 years. And so of course Tyler Oakley is known as one of the biggest LGBTQ community activists on the internet, and considering he's gay as fuck, there was of course going to be the gay chapter. I have to say, it made me so happy that his friends and mother were so supportive of him from the beginning. I'm not trying to undermine anyone's coming out stories, especially because I've never gone through that, but just the way that the book made it seem was he got a lot of positive feedback and not really much negative backlash for it. And so like I said, I don't want to say that that's actually what happened. I have no idea what was going through his mind at this time, and I'm sure it was terrifying. I know for a fact it was terrifying. But I'm just really glad that for the most part, it was a really uplifting experience for him at a young age. Like, I love how his mom just simply asks if he's gay and says yes and steals a bunch of lollipops from the bank. Like, how fucking metal is that for an 11-year-old? But my heart really broke when he was talking about how his father was super homophobic and actually offered to send him to therapy to fix him and, like, was genuinely concerned and wanted to help him. Like I said, I've never experienced this, so I have no idea how horrible this must feel, but I can only imagine the pain he was feeling of not talking to his father for 3 years because he was so homophobic and didn't really accept him for who he is. But I'm really happy that he was talking about how they've overcome that and now they're more like friends rather than father and son, and now it just feels like he can really be himself in front of absolutely everyone, and I'm so happy for him for that. So one other very intense topic that I wanted to talk about was the chapter titled The One That Got Away. Basically, he's talking about one of his most serious relationships and all of the ups and downs, and while personally from the beginning of the chapter I knew that Adam was trouble when he walked in, you know, we live, we learn, we get famous enough where we have the opportunity to write a book and drag the fuck out of the people that hurt us in the past, you know. Whatever. But personally, I don't blame Tyler for anything that transpired over that relationship, even though it was completely toxic, because I would have done the same exact things. I went through a pretty similar experience about a year ago, and luckily I've worked things out with this boy, and he's become my wonderful, lovely, amazing boyfriend of 4 years. You know, it's just really comforting to know that I wasn't totally alone in that situation either. For so long, I beat myself up about going along with this person's shit because I loved them so much and I couldn't bear the thought of losing them, but it's just a really wonderful feeling to know that I'm not alone in that place and other people have gone through the same exact things. Okay, so enough with these heartbreaking stories because honestly, while I was writing this review, I was crying hysterically. So let's talk more about the funny moments that made me want to shit my pants. First of all, I'm like 500% sure he uses the word dick in this book more than E.L. James uses the word cock in 50 Shades of Grey, and personally to me, that is very impressive. Like, there's this one line where he's like, well, if you're identifying as straight for the night, I'm identifying as straight to bed, because daddy needs dick and he's gonna find some. Like, oh my god. I was reading that part in class and I let out this gigantic snort because I couldn't hold in my laughter. It was disgusting, but it was such a well-deserved snort for Tyler Oakley. I also really loved a couple of chapters, like the ones that were titled 20 Things I'd Do If I Were Beyonce for the Day, or the 10 Commandments. I just feel like they were really nice, light-hearted, funny breaks, and they really showed off Tyler's personality that we all know and love. I just feel like he really didn't lose himself in the book, and that's super important to me. Like, he's sharing all of these extremely trying struggles, but he's also managing to put some kind of comedy in it that, you know, takes away from the intensity of the book, and it's so Tyler, and that's what Binge should have been, and that's what Binge was. So one of my favorite things in this book is really how raw and true Tyler is when he's writing. He doesn't hold back anything, and I have the utmost respect for him for that. I feel like a lot of YouTubers try and conceal different parts of their life because they think that it'll be perceived as bad because, you know, they're in the public eye and they're role models for kids and they don't want backlash for that. I mean, we constantly hear about celebrity nudes getting leaked. And then I remember a couple of months ago there was actually a YouTuber whose iCloud got hacked and like pictures of them smoking pot went everywhere online, and they got a really negative reaction from their fans for that. You know, Tyler doesn't give a fuck. He's a completely open book and everything he says in this book is so true and he doesn't care. I just love that he doesn't feel the need to hide any of that. It's super refreshing to me. Like, he admits to experimenting with drugs and even enjoying them with friends every once in a while. God knows half the stories that happened in this book were because he was totally obliterated from drinking too much alcohol. And he talks about all the adult slumber parties his fragile little heart can handle, bless him. Things like sex and drugs and alcohol in the media definitely aren't perceived well with celebrities, and so I just really like that Tyler is out there and saying, this is me, this is who I am, I'm not ashamed of it, and if you don't like it, fuck off. The most important thing about this book is that it is so real, and that is the most important thing any memoir can offer. Now, while I feel like I could go on for hours about each chapter because every individual essay just generated these crazy emotions from me, whether they were sadness or happiness or love or hope. But to be honest, you guys are probably sick of me already and I won't bore you anymore. I just really want to say thank you, Tyler Oakley, for writing Binge. Books have always been the thing to make me feel like I was less alone, and it's so comforting to know that there is a real life existing person out there that can offer me the same sense of comfort. I just connected with this book to a ridiculous level, and I feel like I'm viewing my past and future totally different because I've read Binge. I am forever grateful that Tyler has written this book and that I was able to read it, and if you haven't picked it up yet, you seriously need to. I've read nearly 100 books this year, and Binge is one of my absolute favorites. So thank you again, Tyler, so much for sharing your story and putting all of your different experiences into this memoir. So that is it for this review. Please let me know what you guys thought of it and what you guys thought of Binge. I would really love it if you guys could tweet this review to Tyler Oakley, because nothing would make me happier than knowing that he understands how much this book has meant to me. There has only been one other time in my life when I have felt this burning desire to tell the author how much I love their book, And of course, I was given the opportunity to tell that author. So don't ruin my dreams. Let me tell him again. Please tweet this link to Tyler Oakley. That is it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new video. Bye!